A teenager who was suffering from an incurable cancer is now free from the disease thanks to a revolutionary gene therapy called base editing. The new therapy holds a huge promise for lakhs of people worldwide who suffer from an incurable form of blood cancer called T-cell acute lymphoblastic leukemia. Doctors at the Great Ormond Street Hospital in the UK decided to try out the new treatment after all other therapies, including chemotherapy and bone marrow transplant, failed. The girl's cancer was extremely aggressive, and the girl's parents feared that the last year's Christmas would have been their last with their daughter. Instead, a year later, the girl is cancer-free. So, what is the revolutionary new gene therapy called base editing? As we all know, DNA in our cells are made up of 4 types of bases: adenine, cytosine, guanine, and thymine, called A, C, G, and T respectively. Our DNA is made up of billions of bases that decide how our body functions. Base editing involves editing the molecular structure of any of the 4 types of bases A, C, G, or T. This changes the genetic instruction of a group of cells. So, in this case, scientists engineered a new type of T cells that was used to hunt down and kill the cancerous T cells of the teenager's body. T cells are part of the body's defense mechanism where they are programmed to kill antigens. In the teenager's case, these cells had turned cancerous. Scientists began with a donor T cell and made a few alterations in its structure. In the first edit, the donor T cells targeting mechanism was disabled so that it would not target the teenager's body. In the second step, a chemical marker called CD7 that is present on all T cells was removed from the donor T cells. In the third edit, the donor T cells were given an invisibility cloak so that they would not be killed by a chemotherapy drug. In the fourth and final stage, the donor T cells were told to destroy every cell with CD7 marker. This ensured that all of the teenager's T cells that had turned cancerous were destroyed. Now, even as the teenager has been declared cancer-free, what happens to her immune system that remains weak due to absence of T cells? Well, her immune system will be rebuilt with a bone marrow transplant. If the teenager remains cancer-free, the base editing therapy could become the go-to therapy for aggressive and incurable cancers. Scientists say that base editing had an enormous potential to be applied across a range of diseases.